Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the pioneers, the heroic story of the settlers who brought the American ideal west, by David McCullough, copyright 2019, publisher Simon & Schuster, pages 331. Pulitzer Prize winning historical author David McCullough describes how early pioneers overcame many heartbreaking situations in order to build a new way of life. Written in three parts, the first of the dates between 1787 and 1794, the author writes about the Cutler family and their journey to their ultimate destination being Ohio County. He also writes about the other men and women who helped change and forge the wilderness into a growing community through determination and faith. Now, part two dates between 1795 and 1814. Continuing their journey to Ohio, the Cutlers are met with untimely deaths. It was the youngest son and his daughter, and then the injuries that his wife experienced, which was her ribs being broken, and also Ephraim himself suffered dysentery. And this is on their travels. It was not very optimal because they had to make their way through the nature. It was not, there's no really clear set roads, or they had to travel by boats that were not all that well built. But they made it, and they once they got in Ohio, though, they were met with Indians who didn't like the fact that pioneers were trying to infiltrate their land, and on a person who can blame them. Okay, back to the story. And the Cutlers decided to move into a different area called Waterford, and they purchased land, and they near Fort Fry, and they commenced building a new settlement and settled in the area of Marietta. You'll also enjoy the colorful pictures and places in history between pages 144 and 145. There's 16 in total. It gives you a visual of the landscape at the time and the people involved. Now, part two is from 1850 to 1863. This is the end of the war in 1812. The Ohio River became a major thoroughfare for commerce migration of immigrants from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Germany. Ephraim was appointed to several committees, and one of his own committees was to regulate schools in certain districts as the community continued to grow, which is really a good idea. But he was met with rejection. But after a while of going back and forth with the communities, they finally passed it, which is ultimately one of the things Ephraim is known for. He was also appointed judge at this time and worked with the state building and did several other things to help establish this growing community. The reader will also enjoy some of the local newspaper articles, which I found to be a little bit humorous because the women in these papers wrote about why they were separating from their spouses. There's also pictures between 240 and pages 241 depicting life into this area. There's an illustration of Marietta College by Henry Howe, it was built in 1846, I think. It's so impressive for the time. I kept on staring at that college because I'm thinking back then, and they had this kind of college, and it's built this way. Ultimately, in his passing, Judge Cutler was laid to rest next to his wife Sally at the age of 86 near the family home overlooking the Ohio River. Mr. McCullough's way of explaining and using history to show you what the families and friends of everybody in the world and trying to establish new communities is to be admired. I love the fact that he did extensive research. In the back of the book is a bibliography and an index, and also one of his acceptance speeches when he was giving certain prizes. So it behooves you to read all the way through the book and the last pages of this. Ultimately, this book was so interesting. I have to tell you, I could not put it down. But until next time, this is Robin S. Garland. Thank you, and God bless.